And we're right back into the Dick Hanna Dealers post-game scoreboard show, and we got Dusty Harrah, the fan man himself, the guy on the sideline during these Ducks games. And Dusty, I want to ask you, what did you notice after that Beavers scoring drive, the really only successful drive they had all day? What did you notice about this team and their adjustments, whether it was schematic or just their mentality in the game?
Yeah, I think it was they just kind of settled in, right? And they settled into what the keys were heading into the week. And every offense is going to throw a wrench at you in the opening script and try to throw you off balance. And you saw that with Oregon State and kind of taking a page out of that Northwestern playbook, trying to run the ball between the guards really effectively early. But I think what really changed is on the interior of that defensive line, they stopped pinning the ears back and being so aggressive getting upfield, and they did more engage and shed, right? And when they were engaging and shedding as opposed to just trying to put the offensive line on their heels, they were able to read, create lanes for the linebackers to fill, and obviously Bryce Betcher with 9 tackles in that first half alone, the linebackers did their job and they lived up to their end of the bargain.
Yeah, Dusty, actually talk about that a little bit. I noticed the linebackers were everywhere today, and at first I was wondering, maybe Oregon's front seven isn't as strong as we thought they were. That long drive from Oregon State to start the game just made it look like the Ducks came out of the gate on their heels. But, man, those three in the middle, I think that's the best linebacking core in the country, or one of them. They really showed second and third quarter that they can do just about anything. We didn't even see an interception today. Bryce Betcher was everywhere. Tuioti was he almost had the sack near the end of the game there. But just talk about specifically in the middle there, Dusty, how from the first to the second to the third quarter that defense really did improve, but specifically that linebacking core.
Yeah, those linebackers and Dan Lanning's defense is a 53 and a third linebacking core, right? So playing sideline to sideline, having the speed and the ability to have that kind of good coverage. And what we have seen is Jerry Mixon Jr., Bryce Betcher, and Devin Jackson. And Devin Jackson's kind of like the unsung hero of that group because he's the guy who hasn't had a pick, but he's making all of the right plays. And it's almost as if we're not hearing his name is a good thing because, one, they're not trying to go his way, and in coverage, he's got guys bottled up, so they're not even trying to throw the ball. And he has made a ton of plays for other guys in that scheme and in that system. And so those three linebackers in particular have played so well. And then the edges are always going to be good, right? Mateo Uiagalelei, Tatum Tuioti, Blake Purchase coming off the edge from that outside linebacker position. Those guys are just monsters. I mean, they're big, they're physical, they really do a good job of reading and reacting. And look, the sack numbers aren't huge, but those guys doing their job, pressure is just as big of a number as getting a sack. And they're getting pressure and making quarterbacks feel uncomfortable. And when you're seeing that in the back end has been so tight. And, I mean, I think you see it today with only 5 completions for Malik Murphy on the entire day and holding a team to under 100 yards passing that's getting blown out of a game. Those guys are forcing bad throws by creating pressure and making the quarterback throw off balanced or through tight windows.
Next week, they got Penn State, and it has just been announced, big shocker, that it's going to be the college game day game of the week. So the guys over on ESPN will be there. From what you've seen, and there are 4 games, and today's game especially, what do you think is key for this Oregon team to go into Penn State in one of the toughest environments in the country, if not the toughest environment, and get a win?
You're going to have to be able to run the football. I mean, I think that's like the cop-out, but especially when you're on a road and you're in a hostile environment, running the football is paramount. But even more than that, it is creating time for Dante Moore. We've seen when Dante Moore has time, he is so calm, cool, and collected in the pocket. But there have been, over the last couple of weeks, some rushed throws, some hurried throws, and those look a heck of a lot different. So keeping a clean pocket for Dante Moore and just being able to run the football, I mean, this is going to come down to how well the offensive line plays. And they have been really good over 4 weeks. I think that both of these teams have the same question of, look, we think we have a great team, but can they put it together for 4 quarters? And I think that Penn State has that same question that they need to answer that Oregon does. And that will be the real test there, is which team can put it together for all 4 quarters, because neither one of them has really had to do it so far this year.
Yeah, neither one of them has really had any, I would say, elite opponents. And to that note, Dusty, do you see anything, not necessarily looking forward to next week on keys to the game, but do you see anything that could translate from today's game? Maybe the slow start, maybe the fact that they picked it up in the second half. What can translate from their Oregon State win to a matchup against Penn State?
I think that you take things from this week and last week and kind of combine them, because, like I said, Oregon State took something out of Northwestern's playbook from the week before, which is, look, we're going to try to limit possessions and run the ball in between the tackles. Whether we're down by 7 or down by 30, we're going to try to just limit the possessions and kind of play keep away from Oregon's offense. And Northwestern did the same thing. And if you looked at the way that Northwestern kind of attacked Oregon's defense, it was very similar to the Penn State in the Big Ten championship game. Now, they didn't have a Tyler Warren that they could throw the ball to, and their backs weren't nearly as explosive, but it was between the guards in that game, in that Big Ten championship game, where Penn State had the most success. And I think you're going to see that again this week from the Nittany Lions and Andy Kotelnicki's offense, which they are going to formation you, they're going to shift, they're going to motion, but their bread and butter is running right off their guards in their center, where that's the strength of their interior offensive line. So I think that if you look at the last 2 weeks, you can take what's going to translate, and that's going to be the front seven really has to bulk up, and they need to be ready for that, because Penn State will get you right there. If you can force Drew Aller to have to win the game with his arm, you're going to feel really comfortable with that, but that starts with winning up front in between the tackles.
Well, it's a big one next week, and that is very much an understatement, as Oregon going to State College to take on Penn State in which possibly their biggest game of the year, at least on the regular season schedule. And Dusty will be ready for pregame show action next week, leading you into the game next week. Appreciate you, sir, as always. Get home safely, and we will see you Monday morning.
Hey, appreciate you guys. And look, Penn State coming off a bye, too,
yes.
which is a distinct rest advantage for Penn State. But also, I think that you could look at it as, look, both of these teams have had kinks to work out, and Oregon got an extra week to work some of those kinks out, whereas Penn State's on the sidelines.
Well, and we see it all the time. It's like, is the team coming off of the bye going to come out a little bit slower and rusty, or is the team that just got done playing a football game going to come out, looking fresh and ready to go? So, to be seen. Appreciate it, Dusty. We'll see you on Monday.
Hey, appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
Yeah. See ya.
Thanks,
that was Dusty Harrah, the sideline reporter for the Oregon Ducks. Saw him on TV today. And also the fan brand manager here at the Fan Global Sports Network.